Alright guys, here's another video. 2014 Chevy Duramax with the LML engine code. And I'm gonna be replacing this DEF heater sender assembly. It has a code for the sensor performance, so I'm gonna go ahead and change it out. It's fairly easy. So first we're gonna start off by, sorry for the not so great handling of the camera, but we're gonna take off this 13mm bolt right here. We got one more right here. And then we're gonna undo this clamp for the fill neck. All right, and we're gonna support it with the floor jack. Get these hold down straps off and then slowly lower it and then start disconnecting the top side. And I'll show you that here in a minute. Let me get this thing ready to lower down. All right, sorry for the music. Some of these guys like to play the music loud. But anywho, I got it lowered down. We got a couple things we gotta disconnect. We gotta disconnect that big bolt connector. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with one hand. Nope, I'm not gonna be able to, but anyways, there's two tabs on the side, one right here and one right on the other side. You're gonna squeeze them, and then you're gonna pop this guy out, up, and that'll come out. And then with this guy, this little breather tube, there's a little tab right here. You're gonna push it up and out. It's a little hard with one hand, but get that off. And then this connector, like I said, it's a little hard, but you're gonna pull the safety tab out like that, and then you're gonna pull it. Alright, yeah, there you go. And then here's the pump feed hose to spray the doser, or to feed the doser valve. We're gonna go ahead and squeeze two tabs and then pull out. There, just like that. All right. And let me disconnect that real quick. Hold on, let me see if I can show you how. See if I can somehow. No, it's not gonna work like that. Sorry, guys. Okay. Squeeze the tabs, pull, boom, just like that. Very easy. All right. And then one important thing is we want to be as clean as possible. We don't want any debris getting in here whatsoever. Anything that fell down, spray it all away. Spray all that. Let's see if it comes that way out. All right, so here it is. I'll be right back, hold on. All right, so here we go. Here's the top of the reductant tank. Here's the reductant pump. And then the heater sender unit is right below it. Here's the DEF module. And then a 2-wire connector, which I believe goes to the heaters. So it's easy, we're just gonna disconnect everything. It's kind of hard. You can use like a little, I call this favorite tool, panel popper. Works great for everything. Just like that. Pop these guys out. This is a slide locking tab. So we're gonna stick something in there and then pop it out. This connector. And then the easiest way to get this connector off is I'm gonna go ahead and pull the locking tab up. Oops, sorry. We're gonna just pull this guy up and boom, just like that. I kind of flatten these out. These are kind of a pain in the butt to get off. And then another locking tab for the module. Just like this. Boom. Alright, so that's it. There was a couple zip ties that we cut off that are retainers for the wire harness. So like I said, let's be extra clean. Anytime I move on to the next step, I like to blow everything off. Alright, the next step, I'm going to pull these Allen heads off. And it's going to be a 4mm, so there's going to be one right here, second, and then a third right here. We'll go ahead and alright, just like that. Boom. You want to be real careful that we don't get no dirt in here. Alright, so what I like to do is I like to get a rag and then right away put it upside down on the rag and then set it to the side. And I'll be right back to show you the next steps. And one thing I didn't show you guys is I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but I didn't plug this up, but I'm showing you now that I plugged it up so no dirt gets in there. And then I also, after I set this down, I put these plugs on that comes in the kit. So you go ahead and plug them right up and then put it upside down on the rag. So next thing is, you can use a screwdriver and a hammer, but I have this handy dandy tool right here. I don't know who makes it. I think I got it off the Macro tool truck. It is adjustable. It's for these reductant tanks and for sending units on fuel tanks. So we're gonna go ahead and set that on top. Oh yeah, there's the Macro. And the part number is FTR730. Really comes in handy. Like I said, you can use a screwdriver and a hammer, but I like this tool. So we're gonna go ahead and see if I can do this by one hand. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, so here we go. We're gonna blow everything off one more time. I'm gonna get a little pry bar or a screwdriver. We're gonna just slightly pry it up away from the seal. I like to pull this seal up with it. And then there's locking tabs in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab, let's see if I can do this. Let's see. Get the seal off. Sorry for the music, guys. You just have to deal with it. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna grab this part of it, of the sending unit heater, and we're gonna turn counterclockwise. I don't think I can do this with one hand. Hold on one second. All right, I'll turn it counterclockwise, and then it's coming up. Have a container ready to put it in. Boom, just like that. Now you kind of want to work fast. This stuff crystallizes fairly quickly, and then you want to inspect the fluid level, or the fluid, sorry. Look at all that stuff in there. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to dump all this out because it could code for reductant quality. It's not liking the quality of the reductant that's flowing through the doser. So we're gonna go ahead and dump all this out, all this contamination that was there previously, but I don't want any issues or problems. And it's good to always do that. Look at all that stuff in there. We're gonna dump it out, and then we're gonna add fresh fluid once we're done. Be right back. All right, I'm back. So I went ahead and dumped all the fluid out. There's no need to put anything in there like a rag or paper towels to clean anything out. Dumping it out is just good enough. You don't want to add any more contamination to it. So I went ahead and installed the new seal already. Put that down. And then, so there's these locking tabs. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're just gonna line them up to the locking tabs in there. All right. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna, once it sits down in that crevice or whatever you want to call it, you're gonna turn it clockwise to lock it in place. So I'll show you how that looks once I have it clicked in. All right, so now I have it in place. I felt it drop in, and then we're gonna turn it clockwise. Boom, that's locked in. All right. So then we're gonna set this in, and we're gonna line it up. I'll show you guys how to line it up right now. All right, so I have it up. So the easiest way to line it up, because once you line it up, that hose right there is gonna have to be lined up right about here. So it's kind of hard to gauge it. What I like to do is line up this breather, which we can install now if we like, but that breather, I like to line it up pretty much at that right mark, or in between the middle and the right mark of this tank. As you can see right there, that's your best bet. And then before we do anything else, we want to make sure we put this O-ring in there. It comes with one O-ring in. I like to just make sure it's seated down all the way. I don't put any lube or anything on it. On this part of it, I don't want to contaminate the pump or anything. So we'll just be real careful. What I do lube up is I do put a little bit of motor oil on this locking ring right here. So we make sure we put our harness through. And then we're gonna tighten it. You don't have to do it too tight, just set it in. And then I'll show you guys the next steps once I have this tight. All right guys, I got that locking ring in. I put the breather back on. O-rings are in. So now, these guys right here, I do like to get a rag, and I do like to clean off any of the dirt that's on the tip so it gets a nice good seal. Okay, and then one thing that I do, I know some people don't do it, so I like to get just a tiny bit of motor oil, not a lot, it doesn't take a lot, and I like to just put it on the outside so it lubricates that O-ring going in. I don't like to get it in inside the pump, but it makes it just slide in easier. I have seen it where people pinch the O-rings, or they don't slide in, and it makes a mess. So we're gonna go ahead and, oh yeah, that one is smooth. Then we'll go ahead and put the bolts back in. Always start bolts by hand. Okay. And then we're gonna tighten it. Promise guys, I'll get better at this videotaping stuff. I'm a grease monkey, not a videographer. And we'll go ahead and just snug them down just a bit. And we'll finish it off with the wrench. All right. So that's that. Okay, now we got the pump in, and we'll start connecting all of our wires, and I'll show you how that looks once it's all done and we're ready to install. I went ahead and put a couple of the zip ties that it comes with on. Now these are special locking zip ties, so what you're going to do is you're going to click it on right here, and you're going to push down. You'll hear it click in, and it holds on just like that onto the locking ring, and we'll have another one right here. All right. Again, sorry for the noise, the music. This isn't my music. I don't listen to this music, but I gotta, I guess, have to just do what I have to do to work here. So we'll go ahead and put this cover back on. It's like a heat shield cover, and then put some locking tabs on it also. And then I'll show you guys, you know, once it's installed back up, just reverse the removal process and install it just how you removed it. And we'll fill it up with brand new fresh DEF fluid all the way to the top, guys, until it starts pouring out the fill neck. And I'm gonna pull out my scanner and show you guys what to do with the scanner. All right. Oh, and before I forget, these are some of the tools you're gonna need. I like to use an extension, a 4mm Allen head, a panel popper, which I call favorite tool because it seems like it's always in my hand, a pair of dikes, small pry bar, pliers, or some hose clamp pliers, which I really recommend these right here. These are my favorite tool, one of them, and it's made by Blue Point. It's a HCP10 part number. We're gonna need a ratchet, of course, a flashlight, and then about an 8-inch or a 10-inch extension with a 13mm, and then an impact wrench, air nozzle, and a little bit of motor oil, and this gets the whole job done. Oh, and the floor jack, and then something for your knees. My knees are burnt out for doing this for 20 years. All right, we'll see you guys in just a second. All right, now I'm in the truck, peace and quiet, no loud music, so sorry for that. Again, I'm gonna apologize a million times, but it's all right. So these are the codes that the truck had, was a P140C and a P25B. So this reductant tank temp sensor, when I pulled up the data, it was a bias sensor. It was not reading like ambient temperature. When you would turn the key on first thing in the morning, you would read the ambient temperature and then read the reductant temperature. They should match up pretty accurately. It did not. It was stuck at 160 degrees. So I went ahead and replaced that reductant tank sending unit, heater, sensor. It's all one assembly. And then also had this EGR recirculation slow response. What I found was this truck was missing the air minder, which lets you know if the air filter is plugging up or not. And that's after the mass airflow sensor. So with unmetered air coming into the truck, it definitely can skew the EGR data, the input data for the EGR, and the truck did not like it. So I went ahead and took out his dirty air filter, replaced it with a factory GM filter, and put a new air minder on the truck. So we're gonna go ahead and clear these codes, and then let's see, I'm using the Snap-on Solus. We're gonna go ahead and clear the codes, okay? And then one thing we have to do with the new DEF heater sender is we're gonna have to go into the glow plug module. And this is per the data resets on either All Data or Mitchell, even from the factory. It tells you that you have to do this after the replacement. I don't know if it would reset on its own or turn the heaters on the sending unit by itself, but from, you know, the factory resets that I want you to do, this is what you have to do. So you if you're doing this at home and you don't have a scanner to do this, you may just clear the codes and just drive it a bunch of times, and maybe it'll run its own it run the monitors on its own. That could be, or you maybe go to the shop and pay them, you know, 50 bucks, 60 bucks, or even 1 hour labor for them to reset the heaters. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to functional test. We're going to go to output controls, and we're going to go to reductant heater 1, and this is in the glow plug control module. So we're going to go ahead, and you see it says heater 1 control circuit open test status not ran, and then heater 1 control circuit low voltage test status not ran. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn them on, and you're going to see them turn on. Boom, they both say okay. So we're going to go ahead and turn them off. We're going to go to number 2 heater, turn them on. Boom, turn them off, and then do that on the 3rd one also. All right, so we're going to go ahead and since we cleared the codes, we turned all 3 reductant heaters on. We're going to go ahead and go back to the engine control module. And this is what I like to do. Now, it doesn't say you have to do this, but I like to do this. Go to functional test, output controls, and we're going to reset the level sensor. Because I've seen them where they're supposed to be reset from the factory, but I've seen them where you filled them up and it doesn't show that it's full. Did I pass it? Right here, reductant fluid tank level reset. We're going to go ahead and reset that since we know the tank is completely full. All right, that's it. We're going to go back to the codes on the engine control module. Verify there's no codes. Turn the truck on. Now this message right here, the service warning indicator, let me show you. This one right here, that one right there, kind of looks like an ice cream cone sideways. If that is on with the code, and it has a message right here that says service reductant system, see service manual, okay, that is actually pretty hard to get off, especially if it says quality low. Now, even GM recognizes it's very difficult. I've had it where they do not reset, and we've had to put a PCM in it. So if yours is on, okay, you're gonna have to drive this thing probably maybe like around like 5-10 miles, okay, and then you're gonna go to your scanner. Now this doesn't apply to a 2011 model. They don't have this function, but you're gonna go to functional test, and you're going to go to reductant system malfunction warning service bay test, and that's after the vehicle is at operating temperature. You drove it for about 5-10 miles. You can run this test, and it should turn that light off. If it does not turn the light off, you're just going to have to continue to drive this thing and drive it and drive it and drive it. And if you're in a reduced power mode, it can be a real pain in the butt. Sometimes it takes 30 miles, sometimes 5. Sometimes I've seen them where it did not come off till about 250 miles. And once it gets into that reduced power and you can only go 55 miles an hour on the freeway, it's not fun. The service manual states that you're supposed to drive on the streets to about 30 miles an hour and then coast to 0 miles per hour, and then do that over and over and over again. I don't find that to work. I find the best thing to do is just allow the truck to run its own regen on its own. So letting it sit at an idle for long periods of time and load up that DPF with soot carbon, and then driving it and then turning it off. Sometimes I'm getting ahead of myself. Turning it off, turning it back on, turning it off, turning it back on, driving it. There's no set way you're supposed to do it. I've talked to many GM techs, I've talked to many mechanics, and no one knows really the exact formula if they're stuck in a reduced power. I find doing all these resets with the scanner makes things actually worse. When you start resetting every single data point on it, all the output controls, if you just go in here and you start resetting stuff, you start resetting reductant system resets, the system leak test, the data resets, and you go up and you start doing NOx resets, NOx resets, catalyst resets. You start doing everything. It actually makes things worse. So I do not do that anymore. I only do the resets per the service manual says for each repair. I find that the best. So this one, we didn't have any reduced power, and we're just gonna continue to, we're gonna go drive it. We're gonna monitor EGR flow and mass airflow sensor flow, and probably put up maybe about 10-15 miles on this thing on the highway, and make sure that everything is good. Once if it passes the EGR monitor, I'm okay and to let it go to the customer. If it comes back with an EGR slow response code, we're gonna have to either replace the EGR valve and or pull that front cooler and see if it's plugged up. That's a real common on these, especially they have a lot of idle time, is the cooler is getting plugged up. For the reductant, I'm 99.9999% positive that it fixes it. So actually, you know, I could even show you here on the data. So we're gonna go to data. We're gonna go to reductant. Right, reductant system. And we're gonna go down to temperature, which it was coding for. Reductant temperature, 64 degrees. Perfect. So we got 64 degrees on the reductant temperature, and then we got 64 degrees ambient temperature outside. So we're matching. So this, now we know that it's fixed. We corrected this, and we proved that we corrected that reductant temperature failure stuck at 160 degrees. So we'll go ahead and drive this, and I hope you guys out. I know, sorry for the music. You might not even be able to hear me, but I wanted to do a video on one of these because it is a very simple repair that anyone can do, you know, at their house, and then take it to a shop to do these resets, or just drive it. You know, it's very common for these reductant heater senders to go bad. So I actually believe it's called a reductant tank assembly unit is what I think GM calls it. I call it a sender / heater because that's exactly what it is. So all right, so let me if I need to, if anything comes up, I'll let you guys know. If not, this thing is probably ready to be shipped back to the customer. All right, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any advice on any resets for the reductant system or the catalyst system when they're stuck in reduced power, please comment below. If you know, any comment, you know, good or bad, I'm okay with all the bad comments, all the good comments. There's a million ways to skin a cat. I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I've done probably 200 of these, you know, maybe 100, 200, 150 of these units. I've never had one come back after the replacing it. So the way I'm doing it is perfectly fine. Other people might do it a little bit differently, and that's okay. You know, comment below how you do it, and maybe something that even I could improve on, because I'm always willing to learn from fellow mechanics. You know, the worst thing you can do in this industry is to be hard-headed and be prideful and think that your way is the only way. You'll never get ahead. All right, guys, thank you again for watching.